Good morning, everybody. It's me, Teri Hunter. It's almost 11 a.m., Sunday morning, May 23rd, 2021. It's an exciting time, guys. Astrologically, this week is setting up some serious stuff. I think I didn't even write down the dates for all these things going on this week, but I got a lot to talk about before we do the readings. So I want to welcome you back. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an angel therapy practitioner. What I'm doing here on Lotta's channel every Sunday morning, 11 a.m. Pacific, is messages from your angels for traversing the transits. If you would like to book a private reading with me, you can click on the link in the description below. I'm on Lotta's website under the reader's menu. Welcome, Dreaming with Tess Flamingo, to Bethany, Juan, Nirvana Flux, Yuri, A Piece of Peace. Lauren, welcome this morning. Christopher posted up. Good to see you all. The chat is working today. Yay. I'm feeling my mojo back. Let me just tell you guys what a week it has been since last Sunday for me. I think I've told you that Pluto is running all over me. Pluto is squaring my ascendant exact. It is squaring my sun loosely. It is almost squaring my Mars. And in addition to that, Uranus is about conjunct my moon, and we know that is squaring Saturn. So I'm just going to tell you little stories. Good morning, Michelle. Good morning, Christina. Good morning, Ken, Matea, Marta. So this is what I want to say, because this has been going on for a while. Good morning, Diana. I have revisited some things, not the same people, some of the same people, and really, honestly, totally triggered this week to the point where I was so Aries rising warrior mode that I had to learn from my lessons from before. I had to learn about the ripple effect and remember it. I'm not saying this just to pontificate. I'm saying this because we have a super blood full moon lunar eclipse in Sagittarius at 5 degrees this week. And I think this is pivotal. And I want to kind of break it down a little bit for you guys, because what happened was I saw myself starting to crescendo in a patterned way. We have Mercury squaring Neptune this week, patterned way. Welsh Roses, thank you so much for reaching out, sending love to you. Welcome, Allison. Sorry to interrupt myself, you guys. I'm going to focus now, because what happened was the situation was not exactly the same, but the dynamics were. I was in the right, technically. I was trying to be fair. I was trying to be diplomatic, and I block, wall. And then I started to go into warrior mode. I realized my thought process was sending a ripple effect, and I was able to decompress, and it wasn't easy, to the point where I then was able to actually adjust my energy to line up with the outcome I want. And while I don't have any definitive answers if the outcome is solid yet, what I do know is that I felt like I had powers of co-creation. So that's what I want to talk about right now. I want to talk about these dynamics that are coming up. So let's break down this lunar eclipse that's coming up. Super blood. First thing I think about is supermoons are huge, but the blood moon, what does the blood represent within the body? It's the river of life. Okay. So now we have the full moon, the biggest moon possible, closest to the earth, illuminating our life's blood in Sagittarius. What do we really believe? What is our philosophy of life? How have we been operating on those beliefs? And are those beliefs aligned to what I want to experience? And I want to offer this too. In reviewing those beliefs, there's the evolution of your beliefs. So rather than shooting back to the beliefs and how challenging they may be or how hard they've been, maybe it's about seeing the evolution, Sagittarius, going from one place to a foreign idea. The foreign idea being, I'm on the right path. And the challenges that sit before me are really to build the resources and the muscle for being able to, now let's go to this. Neptune squares Mercury. Neptune is murky, right? Neptune is watery. Neptune is delusional in some ways. But what I was seeing when I was in my meditation was that Neptune was calling me to go to my intuitions because I can't see with my eyes. And if I think about the square to Mercury in Gemini, then what I may be doing is basing everything on my everyday activities, on what I'm reading in the news, what I have been speaking about, what I have been talking about, what I've been thinking about. And is this an opportunity for me to close my eyes, Neptune, and to see with the deeper part of my energy, my oversoul, and reinvent or reinvent, give life to the reinvention of my everyday activities. Now I want to talk about Saturn going retrograde. And I felt like I was in the shower. I have all these crazy epiphanies in the shower when I have no pen or opportunity to write anything down, because I felt like Saturn was saying to me, I rule the 11th house, Aquarius. I originally ruled it. I owned it. Uranus came in later. So when I owned it, that's the house of hopes and dreams. It's an Upachaya house of making money. It's also the house of humanitarian efforts. It's the house of science. It's the house of technology. It's the house of explosions, lightning, blah, blah, blah. How do I want to view Saturn in Aquarius squaring Uranus? Am I going to continue a tense conversation with the expectations of others that have been inadvertently opposed on me? Or am I going to give life to the idea that Saturn's now asking me where I'm arguing for my limitations? Where am I? Because Saturn's saying, if you start to argue for your openness, for the Uranian liberation, all these things are telling a story. They're all adding up together within our own personal charts to allow us to be free to use the earth plane to experience those things. And when I say those things, I mean the heart's desires, the pie in the skies, the things that we think only happen in the movies, Neptune. Because Neptune talks about being egoless. And I want to say, where are we edging God out? Where are we using Neptune, the ego, assigning it to actually the opinion of others? Am I being egoless because I need to defer to somebody else? I don't think that's what Neptune means. I don't think that's what the South Node means. I think it means where I was on, there's a gal that I follow on Instagram, and she's so sweet and cute and free and kind of like a modern day hippie. And she was saying that she someday hopes she'll be able to sing out loud instead of feeling repressed and only singing in her room. And I'm like, my first thing is, when you don't give a flip about what somebody else thinks, you'll be able to sing out loud. That's what Neptune is about right now. That's what the square to Mercury is about right now to me. And I feel like if we look at this week, because it's so pivotal, the year 2020 is the renovation after the demo of 2021, after the demo of 2020. So let's look at this eclipse. Let's say, where can it liberate me as I'm willing to look at what really pumps up my life's blood? Where is it that I'm willing to pivot in my beliefs? This lunar eclipse is at 5 degrees Sagittarius. I can't help but think of Nikolai in 5 degrees representing Leo, Fifth house, personal creativity, personal pleasure, hobbies, romance, children, all of these things. So in your own personal charts, you guys, as you look to see where is this influence affecting me, if indeed, let's say Aquarius is your seventh house, then this would be in relation to your diplomacy, to your relationships, to your contracts, to your partnerships. And just kind of give it this sort of tell the story, but now tell the story from where I win, where all these challenges that I've walked through and all of my assessment and reevaluation or evaluation, but it feels like a reevaluation because of the retrogrades, right? So look at saying these things. Where can I turn these obstacles into opportunities? Where can I sit maybe in the 12th house? Pisces represents the 12th house. I'm sorry, Neptune is the Lord of the 12th house. Where can I use my sleep time to connect to spirit, to then really see where I'm co-creating my own limitations, where my self-talk and the talk I speak to others is supporting that. This week, I shut down with some people in a big way because my self-talk was so negative and so in my pattern, and I was aware of it, and I didn't know how to tell my story and not put so much emotion on it that I was going to start to kick in the laws of attraction. So I shut down, and I don't know, can you guys see I put a fake foliage now so you don't see the neighbor anymore? I kind of cocooned myself in a Venusian way, and I found my center. And then I could tell the story because I didn't have the emotional charge on it. So I wasn't necessarily kicking in the laws of attraction to work against me, but to work for me. So when you're looking at these aspects this week, I really think, we talk about eclipses setting up a 6-month dynamic. And I really believe that if we look at that, it's like the closer we get to the age of Aquarius, the closer we get to 2022, all those twos, cooperation, commingling, partnership, alignment to my dreams. So my Neptune is in Scorpio too, Shelley. Okay, so let's go on to our readings now. I hope that made sense for you guys. I'm kind of excited about it and a little scared at the same time. And I say scared because if I'm unconscious, those patterns, those aspects can be really, really challenging. Yeah, 25th, 26th, where you are in the world, activating your sixth and your 12th house. Okay, cool. All right, let's go. We're going to start with Aries. I'm sorry, Aries. We don't start with Aries on this show. We start with Pisces. And we work our way towards Aries. Again, I want to say this is the angel's advice for traversing these transits. I'm going to go by your rising sign, then your moon. I hear so many astrologers talk about the moon, well studied, and I don't want to argue with them, but everything in my being says I create on my emotional body. If I'm scared, if I'm fearful, if I'm angry, I manifest at that platform, which is why this week my awareness, even though it wasn't easy, it was empowering to be aware and to implement tools in order to find my alignment, which then I can go onto the platform. Welcome, Lucky. I have to say, I've never seen you in the chat before, but I want to welcome you. My pooch's name is Lucky, and he's under the desk, but you can't see him right now. Well, maybe you can if I do this. Lucky, say hi to the folks. Oh, he's got his back to everybody. All right, here we go. Aries, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. If you have a stellium, 3 is a loose stellium, 4 is a more strict way of looking at it. A stellium is an intention for your soul to work on a certain dynamic in this lifetime. So pay attention. No, Poochie doesn't want to come out. He's enjoying his little snooze. All right, Pisces, rising, sun, moon, and stelliums. You are ruled by Neptune in modern times, Jupiter in ancient times. We've got Jupiter swinging around in Pisces right now, which is nice. Oops. So there's this very, very, to me, when I think about Pisces, I think very much it's a very spiritual sign. You know, I think about the isolation that it talks about. I think about the entrapment in some ways, the prison, you know, if we're in a prison of our own mind. And I think that's what Neptune squaring Mercury is asking us. Are we in the prison of our own mind? What thoughts have we taken from way back when? And we keep bringing them into the future, into the present. And they've really expired. And I want to say this too, because one of the things, I'm sorry, you guys, I keep chatting, but I think this is so important to be cognizant of, aware of, and be willing to be at this time. Because this last week, Welsh Roses reached out to me and said some very nice things to me. And a woman from Australia left a comment a few weeks ago saying that she spends her Monday morning breakfast with me. And I read these things and my heart swelled. And at the same time, I really didn't let them sink in a way that helped me see my own evolution from who and what and the perceptions of before and the perceptions of now. So I really have to kind of push myself to allow for that awareness that while I will always carry an angry part of Teri inside of me, a hostile part of me, I will also carry the evolved part of me, and she will continue to evolve. And the anger will not always be unconscious. It may be something that fuels me. You know, sometimes when we see unjust things, we become angry. This is what 2020 was about, seeing unjust things and wanting to bring injustice. So this is where I'm going with all these things. A little bit deeper examination. All right, Pisces, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Here we go. First position is the foundational position. And our angel is Maya. Schooling and education. We are all going through that process. In the opportunity and or the obstacle is Archangel Uriel, dealing with frustration and anger and unforgiveness. In the angel's advice is Aurora, saying you're flying high right now, don't descend. And the final angel for Pisces is Opal. Opal says, your children on heaven and earth are safe and well cared for by God and the angels. When we talk to such a large group of people, I'm talking to the inner child at this moment. All right, let's see. We're going to couple this with our Avalon deck. All right, Pisces, joining Maya is the Trust card. Joining Archangel Uriel is the Lady of the Lake. Joining Aurora is Baird. And joining Opal is the Transformational Death card. Okay, here we go. Pisces. Maya is a schooling and education card. And, you know, I could talk about traditional schooling and education, and that may be true. But when I'm talking to a large group of people, I'm going to address this more in the collective, because I believe that Pisces is getting an education in trust, but the trust is not outside yourself. If we look at the 47, it reduces down to an 11, which for me is the number of thought. It's the 11 represents the number of manifestation. It is a master number. Valerie just mentioned 1111, make a wish. It's extremely powerful. So Pisces, while your ruling sign is Neptune, is squaring Mercury, you have an opportunity to dig deep and to really take some time in privacy, in I almost want to say in meditation, even taking a bath, with some candles, shutting the door, allowing yourself private time to really contemplate trust. And the trust is not outside yourself. It's how much do you trust your powers of co-creation, your willingness to say that if I am experiencing a challenge, Archangel Uriel, do I have the courage to co-create and own that so I can transform it? This is what this week I was so angry that I realized how I was showing up was not an engaging dynamic and not for myself or for others. And frustration was taking over. And that vibration was causing a storm, not only mentally, but emotionally. And I had to bring myself into a calmer sense of I had to have the courage and the self-respect and the responsibility to calm the anger down. Because in the angel's advice, Pisces, rising moon, sun, and stelliums, Aurora says you're flying high right now. Don't descend, because you will soon inspire others with your example. And the example is not to be in a lower energy, but to start to tell a new story. This is the enchantment of storytelling. And this is very, to me, in some ways, akin to be the Fool in the tarot deck. And the Fool is the beginning of the hero's journey of self-discovery and co-creation. And so, in the final position, while I don't see this as children, I think this is about learning that, one of the things when I was at DEFCON 200,000,050 of anger, I called upon my guides and my angels to help me find my center, to help me find the peace I needed and the platform of vibration in order to create the outcome I wanted, which is not to villainize another, but to feel peace within. So here it goes. This was me turning it over to God in some ways. This was me saying, I'm willing to co-create by seeing if I take action on this platform, I'm screwing myself. So I'm willing to transform. And the transform is not just trusting God and the angels, but trusting the learning process. That it not only serves me, but it will serve others. And there's a lot more to the story, which it has so far revealed. So this is a pivotal week, Pisces. I want to ask you to allow yourself the privilege of looking at what Saturn is offering you. Where are you defending your limitations? Where are you singing the story of your lack? And if you cannot tell a story of abundance, can you get to neutral? Can you put yourself in a Neptunian energy, a creative energy, a fantasy world, a dream world, just for this period of time, so that the universe can open up a spot and show you a new experience? Words don't teach. Experience teaches, which is why we're all stuck in our crap. Feel the love. One of my most favorite new quotes of my own is, if you feel the crap, take a nap. Because sometimes that gets us into that neutral, or at least it takes down our momentum a little bit so we can align. Okay, here we go. We're going on to Aquarius, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Welcome, Janessa. Welcome, Krista, Christina, Stephen, it's good to see you. Carolyn, Nikki, good to see you. Last week I felt naked not being able to see the chat. All right, here we go. Aquarius, our first angel is Aurora. Our second angel is Rochelle. The third is Xana. And the final is Rosetta. All right. Thank you, Robin. This first deck, the angel deck, is Doreen Virtue's Messages from the Angels. It's one of her first decks. And the second deck is The Legend of Avalon by Colette Baron Reid. I think you can find both of them either on Hay House or on Amazon. Okay, Aquarius, here we go. I'm kind of excited because I have to remember, or I get to remember, that Saturn co-rules the house Aquarius, the 11th house of hopes and desires. Did I drop a card? No. Okay. Aurora is being joined by the Perception card. Rochelle is being joined by the Wealth card. Xana is being joined by the Queen. And Rosetta is being joined by the High Priestess. Okay. You know, the nice thing about Aquarius is in the idea of innovation and technology, Uranus is always reaching for new experiences, right? Uranus is the co-ruler of Aquarius. So, because I'm going here, Aurora says, you're flying high right now. Don't descend. It may threaten others. It's not really a threat. It's more like you're breaking the box, aka Uranus. And the perception is Saturn to me right now. The old perceptions. The perceptions that haven't served your hopes and your desires. So in this dynamic, Saturn's saying, yes, work hard, be diligent, don't give up. There are going to be obstacles, and your willingness to be stoic and like work through them is what's going to take you to your dreams. So I'm going to work in the square between, because I think right now around the eclipse, there'll be about a 1 degree difference between Saturn and Uranus in the square. One is 12, one is 13 degrees. So, and I'm really starting to pay attention to these degrees because there's the Piscean 12th degree, the 13th degree is Aries. So am I willing to kind of allow this square to let me sit in this contemplation, 12th degree, before I take action? So I align my perceptions to the truth of what I want, because Aquarius, Rochelle is saying, as you honor and follow the guidance of your heart, prosperity is coming to you. But this is not necessarily just money. This is harmonious wealth. And both of these cards, this card for me is a harmonious wealth card. Harmonious wealth is not just having money, it's having money and good health and good relationships and feeling like I'm thriving in all the facets of the human experience. And I want to say it this way because the 11th house rules, as I said, your hopes and your desires, but it also, in the Saturnian dynamic, it's asking you to continue to look where you may be, perceptions, arguing for your limitations. And as you honor the guidance of your heart, this is where I'm going, the angels will tell you that you are protected from all types of harm. But you've got to be willing to sit in the receptive mode. It's not about necessarily taking action all the time. It's about being able to muse about how it would feel, not necessarily knowing every piece of furniture in that new house or, every, nuance to the new car or the new relationship, but being able to be in reception of the emotion. Then I go back to the eclipse, the super blood, the blood of my life, full moon, illuminating what I need emotionally. Aquarius doesn't always think of things emotionally, but yet at the same time, you're still going to, your manifestations are going to come on your deepest beliefs. So here we go. In the final position is Rosetta. Rosetta talks about parenting and teaching and guiding. And then here is the High Priestess, which is about intuition. It's about the inner knowing, not necessarily the outer knowing. So I believe that in some sort of alien way, Aquarius, you're going to start trusting an inner knowing that seems foreign to others, alien, and is revolutionary, foreign, Sagittarius, lunar eclipse. There's all these dynamics weaving this like patterned, or not pattern, it's weaving this, this sort of, I kind of think of like a net to catch those dreams and those desires and take them into the future. In history, I've been really into history and exploring different dynamics as I started doing the past life readings and working with Brian Coulter. And in this time of history, it's kind of scary. Yeah, we're all over the place. It looks like the world's blowing up, but it has never been so open for us to be revolutionized versus this past, where people could just be plucked out of their homes because they were not the right color or not the right religion or not the right, financial, whatever the story is. So there was a lot of oppression, and that's what's breaking away. So Aquarius, as you are willing to look at your own perceptions and then go out into your own future and allow yourself to draw it any way you want. And the more you muse on it, the more the universe is going to prove to you that you're being protected, because you're actually going to kick in the laws of attraction, which are not necessarily bestowed upon those that are good. It is literally a law within the universe. And then you start to know that law so deep down to your soul that you inadvertently teach others to have this childlike innocence and this willingness to muse on the happy things in life versus the restrictions and limitations and oppressions. Okay, I really believe these are revolutionary, crazy times. Really. Okay, and in a good way. I'm not saying it's easy. If you talk to me, literally last Sunday after the show, my whole, I feel like I'm getting a precursor to all the dynamics that are going on. And in that precursor, the trailer to the astrological movie coming up for the next 6 months, I have a lot of choice. Because if I can't be aligned, I can choose to be neutral. And neutral for me sometimes is just going, I can't look, I can't look, I can't look. Don't look. I will say this. I think for me, Shelley, a lot of my emotions that are coming up, my personal chart is like freaking crazy triggered. My Pluto is squaring my ascendant exact. It is squaring my sun in Libra by, a loose square. It is squaring my Mars by 1 degree, because Pluto's at 26 degrees. My Mars is at 27 degrees Libra. My ascendant is at 26 degrees Aries. My moon is at 9 degrees Taurus. And where's Uranus? I don't know, 10, 11 degrees. I mean, honestly, for a while there, I thought I was going to drop dead, or someone was going to hit me, or something crazy was going to happen. And then that trepidation made me look at my chart and realize that Pluto and all these planets have been traversing me for my whole life. I clearly picked a challenging life path because I'm wanting to get a lot of crap done in this life, I guess. And I feel like, honestly, if I'm not to sound like a bragger, I've worked super hard to be aware. I've been work super hard to claim my happiness, and it hasn't been easy. And it's especially hard when people that you love have different views, in my family, people don't think about the law of attraction. They don't even know it exists. I'm going to move this way a little bit. Okay, here we go. Let's get on to our Capricorns. All right, here we go. Sorry. All right, Capricorn, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Fiona. The second is Akasha. The third is Maya. And then we have Rosetta. I think it's so funny that, we talk a lot about Saturn and the oppression, the limitations, the depression. And then I think about, Pluto being this little small planet with, packs such a huge punch. And even Pluto, they tried to dwarf it down, and Pluto wouldn't allow itself to be, it's like, nope, I'm a planet. I'm going to transform you whether you like it or not. All right, here we go. Capricorn, in our foundational position, Fiona is being joined by the Serpent. Akasha is being joined by the Restriction card. Maya is being joined by the Trust card. We just had that exact combination for Pisces. Different position. And then we have Rosetta and the Lady of the Lake. Capricorn. I love my baby goats. And while oftentimes, we tend to focus on the mean, nasty old goat chewing on the can, I believe that Capricorn has a great opportunity here to really start to implement. Fiona represents, now that you've asked God and the angels for help, be open to receiving that help. The help is not in a begging way. It's in a transformational way, because I really, in my meditation this morning, I felt like Saturn was saying, please ask these people to quit arguing for their limitations. Quit blaming me, Saturn, who's just asking you to work hard towards what it is you want. I didn't tell you to go work at a crappy job, Saturn says. You picked the crappy job because fear got in your way, or some sort of need for security. And now is a time to really shed that skin. This is what I believe this lunar eclipse, full, super blood moon. What is my life's blood? And now that I've asked God and the angels to help me shed the limitations that no longer serve me, because Akasha is the spiritual teacher and there's the restriction card. And this is Saturn. You're learning. This might be the spiritual teacher, but I think you're being taught about restriction. No more crappy jobs. No more crappy relationships. No more things that don't feel good, because this is what I want to say. If you think of a baby goat, oh my God, they're the cutest thing in the world. They jump up and down, they neigh in laughter and happiness. And I feel like the angels are saying, learn to trust that you deserve happiness, and that any restrictions that you have, any limitations that you have been telling yourself will, on some level, as you are aware of them, they will be a powerful tool for you moving forward. To walk through those limitations, to ask yourself, well, I don't really know what the outcome is going to be. I don't really know. I'm kind of scared. Yeah, I'm a little scared, but maybe if I just take one slow Saturnian step at a time in a new direction, or into a new idea, or into allowing the shedding of that skin. And, when no one said the shedding was easy or fun, nobody's trying to say it's fun. So, because in the final position, Capricorn, it's going to take every ounce of courage, every ounce of bravery you have when I see the Lady of the Lake, this is about courage, self-respect, self-responsibility, and absolute truth about what's most important to you in your heart, about the baby goat versus the old goat. And here's the emotional storm of other people's expectations of you. This is the thing about Capricorn. If I'm going to have somebody work for me, I'm going to pick a Capricorn or a Taurus, because they're going to work their ass off. And you know what? They're the person who, if you call them up and say, I need you to come in, do you mind? They'll be like, yeah, okay, I'll come in. But on some level, Capricorn, rising moon, sun, and stelliums, it's time to ask yourself, do I need that day off? Is it really important for me to be loyal and true to the other person, or will I actually be building resentment for them and be harboring something underneath? So I'm not going to be limited anymore. I'm not going to argue for my limitations. I'm going to give myself the day off. I'm going to own it. I'm going to see that phone call coming that might disrupt me, and I'm not going to pick it up, or that text. I'm going to wait. And this is claiming your life. This is where the illumination of this eclipse in Sagittarius. What are my beliefs? I move now into a foreign dynamic, foreign belief. If you really think about higher education, it's very conceptual and philosophical and adventurous. It's going into realms of the unknown. So that's what I'm saying. And as we're mindful of these, because the Neptune squaring Mercury is going to go on for a while, because, it goes retrograde, and then the forward motion is going to create these dynamics 3 times, back, forward, back, forward. So rather than freaking out, oh no, what's going to happen to me? I grab onto it and I'm like, all right, what have I been thinking about? What have I actually been speaking about? Because it may take a minute for you to realize you've been arguing for your limitations. And you'll be, but this is the facts. This is what's true. Mercury, this is what's been happening in my everyday life. Sometimes we have to zip it to shift it. All right. On to our Sagittarius. This is your, if you're a 5 degree in anything, let's say you have a stellium in Sagittarius. Anything that you got going on in there, pay attention to, because you've got a lot of opportunity to, I believe, change our lives. And I don't think it's like changing the outward dynamic as much as it's shifting the perception. This week, my perception was all about how people didn't support me. And boy, did I get that. You know, a lot of astrologers have talked about Neptune bringing up information that was hidden or that was murky, or will continue this conspiracy thing that, you know, Neptune represents. And sure enough, if I didn't have some backstabbing person show up in my life and basically just screw me over, okay? But let me tell you, the more I started to go down the road of, like, you know, every word in the book, you know, about this person, and I just realized I was giving life to something that didn't work me at all. And that's why I bought the privacy fence. Blotted out. And I got to tell you, it was really very, very therapeutic. I don't know how I did it. I was freaking praying to God and the angels, and in a very, like, let me see my own power way. Let me see my own power. I'm tired of pretending that I'm not powerful. All right. Sagittarius, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Thank you for putting up with all my side stories, guys. I really think they all have a meaning, and it's because I have Neptune and Mercury sitting basically a few degrees from each other. They're not quite conjunct, but they're just like this. And my power of fortune is right in the middle. So most of my readings come through storytelling. All right. Sagittarius, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Patience. The second is Maya. Wow, okay, here we go. Maya's showing up all over the place if we're all not learning about our energy. I love that, because that moves mountains. Xana is in the angel's advice. And finally, Archangel Uriel is here. All right, Sagittarius. Now, I kind of want to bring this up. 5 degree Sagittarius lunar eclipse, super blood, full moon. 5th degree to me is Leo degree. That's what Nikolai, you know, taught me through his books. I didn't ever actually work with him personally, and that's to me a beautiful dynamic, because it's really going back to the idea of what makes me happy. And it is so not selfish to be happy, people. The happier you are, the ripple effect is amazing. If you think about the laws of attraction, and if you're allowing your happiness to be important, and you're allowing yourself to travel into foreign philosophies about your own happiness, and then you start to draw on the alignment that the laws of attraction offer you, and then you take it to the next level of allowing it in, because the laws of attraction kick in all the time. But do we always allow the experience in? Because sometimes we're so caught in our story, and this could be Neptune and Mercury squaring each other, that we miss it. So, Patience, Sagittarius, is being joined by the Truth card. Maya is being joined by the Owl. Xana is being joined by the Dog. And the final Archangel Uriel is being joined by the Bee card. I am on Sagittarius. For those of you that are new to the show, I start at Pisces and I work my way towards Aries. Okay, so in our foundational position is Patience. Patience is never about holding your breath, sitting on an egg, or waiting for something. Patience is a process of observation. It's a process of study. And the truth is here. So this is really an opportunity for this super full blood moon, Sagittarian lunar eclipse, to let you observe your own truth. Your own truth. And this is the thing, in your opportunity or your obstacle, this is the card of schooling and education. Sagittarius represents higher education and the wisdom of both deception and wisdom. 2 coins. This is what I believe the owl is representing. Every thought is actually 2 thoughts. When we want to manifest something, we not only immediately think of I want to get married. I want to have a relationship. Then we boomerang into the lack of the relationship, story we've had in relationships, the broken road we've walked down in relationships, and you can put that into any genre you want, because now is time to start to see which side of the coin you're falling into. Because if you really look at the relationships that you've had, while they may have all been crappy, would you go back to any of them? No, I was calling for a higher experience. So now I'm going to start to learn there's a wisdom to where I've been. Because Xana, Sagittarius, rising moon, sun, and stelliums, is telling you that you're being protected from all types of harm. And this harm is not necessarily outside of yourself. It's the emotional harm that you do to yourself. And to me, this is the dog. It's about sincerity and love and learning about self-love. Self-love is it's okay to make mistakes. Self-love is it's okay to want somebody to be the right person and have them not be. Because at the end of the day, I think Sagittarius is going to learn a lot about transforming frustration into a being energy, into an energy that serves you and serves a deeper truth. I apologize if y'all are, my computer is not indicating any sort of buffering. So I apologize, but we're going into a Mercury retrograde. I've been having all sorts of weird sunspots going on. So let's just send some good energy out to the universe. So in summary, for my Sagittarians, 5 degrees, or the 5th degree is when this lunar eclipse is happening. And I feel it's even like at 5 o'clock in the morning or something, or in the 5 o'clock in the morning hour here in the Pacific. But I really want to offer this idea of reviewing what makes you happy, what makes you feel loved, what makes you feel exhilarated in life, and to dig down to the deeper truth. And it doesn't matter whether or not you've actually experienced it yet. Because now is time to observe how much you're allowing those relationships to come in. Because as you start to pay attention to this, the good news, bad news, how much does my want trigger my lack? And am I able from lack to go back into neutral before I can go into the future? Because I'll be protected by my oversoul. Because I came here not just for myself, but to set forth my own experience that others will then benefit from, because they will learn how I transformed my frustration and my anger into my victory. I hope y'all heard that, Sagittarius. This is really exciting. All right, let's go on to our Scorpios. Rising moon, sun, and stelliums. All right, here we go. Well, I'm sorry if I shut down and just came back. From my side, it's all just moving forward. The clock is moving forward. Everything seems fine. So I apologize if this is choppy, but I'm not surprised with all this crazy energy. All right, Scorpio. Our first angel is Archangel Gabriel. The second is Athena. The third is Isabella. And the final is Desiree. Archangel Gabriel is being joined by the dog. Athena is being joined by the swan. Isabella is being joined by the wealth card. And Desiree is being joined by the horse. Okay, so this is what I want to say for my Pluto and Mars ruled Scorpios. Archangel Gabriel will talk about communications. She'll talk about having divine life purpose and communications in the arts. You got to remember this deck was created almost 22 years ago. I really believe this is about self-talk. I believe this is about the deep, dark parts of Pluto that may feel a little bit dead. I don't know why I want to say dead, because I feel like the dog here is not necessarily feeling, I don't know if you're feeling active, emotional, demonstrative love and sincerity. And I feel like this is about that self-talk. You know, I've been saying that this particular, the Neptune and Mercury square is illuminating the self-talk. And the self-talk is kicking in the ideas of the laws of attraction, because it's time to start to tell a new story, Scorpio. Scorpio, this is a story where you win. This is where you start to say, you know what? My deeper knowing is working for me. And why am I arguing with it? Because I'm looking at the outside world and wanting it to be what I want it to be. No, just let me surrender to my deeper knowing. Because Athena is saying it's okay for you to lovingly assert yourself and to allow yourself and your intuitive abilities to transform. And when I say transform, I mean to trusting them. And it isn't about going to some other human being. Here's my intuitive hits. Here's what I feel about this situation, because they're going to shut it down. They're going to say, oh, what do you know? What's that intuition? That's voodoo stuff, or that's malarkey. That's nonsense. No, Scorpio, this is really a time for revolution for you. This is really a time for your harmonious wealth will come as you give life. Yes, the timing is right for this new venture. A happy outcome follows your positive expectation. That's in trusting your intuition versus trusting your eyeballs. You know, Mercury would be your eyeballs. Mercury would be the hamster wheel, the monkey mind, the thing that gets into those everyday activities, the things we're hearing on the news, the shutdown. Because Desiree is saying conditions are not favorable, meaning the communications, but it's time to go in a new direction. This horse for me is very much indicating the lunar eclipse and allowing it to transform your beliefs and what you know about yourself. Sagittarius represents the connection to the angelic realm. It in some ways takes the eighth house kind of the occult aspect of it, and then transforms it, but takes it to a higher level of really being able to feel the higher vibrations of source energy and the support of it. So if you're continuing to go into the monkey mind, if you're continuing to go into the mercurial everyday illusion, okay, you're gonna feel a little off kilter. And that Pluto may be pulling the rug out from underneath you a bit. So it's time to allow yourself to go into a new direction and to really start to empower yourself to trust a deeper knowing of your own powers of creation and co-creation. And if you think I'm co-creating crap, who cares? That was yesterday. Today is a new day and a new momentum. Okay, let's go. On to our Libras, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. The eclipse is on the 26th, according to my calendar, which is geared towards Pacific time. So it's really going to depend where you are in the world. But I think the feelings of the eclipse, last night the ocean was going off. You know, when there's a super moon and the moon looks and appears so close to the earth and the sky, it really affects the tides. And if we take that even further, it affects the tides within us, male or female. We all have the blood running through us. And I think that's what's going on here. So we're going to really start to have an opportunity to reinvent ourselves. And reinventing ourselves from the inside out, starting with our belief system. Okay. Libra, rising, sun, moon, and stelliums. Here we go. I'd like to start with the angels. Thank you, Ariel. Thank you, Carmen. Cole, good to see you. Sage, CJD, good to see you. Romy Rome, good to see you. Okay. Libra, here we go. Let's see what's up. All right. Our first angel is Ariel and Opal. They came out together. Then we have Archangel Michael in the Angel's Advice, and we have Aurora in the final position. Okay, Libra, Ariel is being joined by the Wealth card. Opal is being joined by the Raven. Archangel Michael's been joined by the Goblin. And Aurora's being joined by the Fear card. This is something I'm not sure I mentioned much about, but I want to really revisit it for Libra. Ariel talks about new psychic and spiritual experiences, changing the way you view yourself and others, and the harmonious wealth card. I told you guys I had a very challenging week. I am a Libra sun with an Aries rising. So I am ruled by Mars, but my moon is ruled by Venus, and so is my sun sign. So I was very challenged this week, but I connected to spirit and I found my harmonious wealth. And this is the only way you're going to do this. During this eclipse week, during the idea that Mercury is squaring Neptune until like July. So your sense of fairness as things, are murky, as communications and potentially secrets are brought to light. Potentially things that you were, I don't know, they could be slightly disappointing, but I got to say it this way because I feel like they've revealed themselves already. Every Libra, every Aries, every Cancer has experienced Pluto's energy in one way or the other, even though they're not in Capricorn, because there's a square or an opposition. So now it's time to claim your harmonious wealth by really connecting to spirit. And when I say that, I mean it in such a way where, our angelic hosts, our angelic team are here to remind us that there is a formula to this universe, and it starts with the laws of attraction. So as we realize that it's time, the magic comes from the Raven, to really turn it over to God and the angels, and to remember that we are, in some ways part of the leaves on the tree of all that is. And as we're willing to dig deep, the Raven represents going into the underworld in order to create magic of transformation. And the transformation comes from having the courage to realize that egolessness is not a lack of an ego. It is balanced. Egolessness to me is the girl that can sing out loud and not worry whether or not everybody thinks she has the greatest voice. Because it's the worry of other people's opinions that tightens the air that makes you not able to sing. So this is really, for me, Libra, the courage to say and look at the balance of my ego. Where am I being overly accommodating? Where am I trying to be so Libra that I'm not actually paying attention to the signs and the omens that spirit is trying to give me? Sometimes people are just, we could try to be harmonious and balanced, and they just don't have the ability to really operate that way. Because in the final position is Aurora, saying you're flying high right now, don't descend, that you will soon inspire others, because you've suddenly realized there's false evidence appearing real. And if I'm going to feel harmonious, hello, Neptune squaring Mercury, false evidence appearing real. Because sometimes Libra will think, if I'm cooperative enough, if I'm accommodating enough, if I'm, agreeable enough, they'll step towards me. The other party will mirror my energy. No, they don't always. I hate to say it. and I don't want to be bitter, but I got to pay attention. If I'm going to feel harmoniously wealthy, I have to pay attention to the patterns that humans fall into, and to know that on some level at this moment in time, I got nowhere to go but to trust that God and the angels are going to help me see that having a healthy ego, having the courage to have a healthy ego, is really the truth of the matter. And this is how I will truly inspire others, through balance. Because rather than villainizing the other party, I'm claiming me and my harmonious wealth. Okay. On to Virgo. Rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Oh, thank you, Janessa. It's really, these times are so, I feel so bipolar sometimes, because it's like part of me knows everything that I have taught and everything I have facilitated for spirit. And then there's a human part of me that just is like, are you kidding me? I just want to, lose my mind. All right. Oh, I made a note here on Saturn saying, are you being responsible for your own hopes and dreams, Libra? All right. Hello, Romania. Wolf, what a beautiful name. I love it. Okay, here we go. Virgo, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Isabella. Then there's Seraphina, Archangel Uriel, and Fiona. Ooh. All right. Virgo stellium, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, North Node. Oh my goodness, dreaming tests. What a beautiful opportunity it is to have that stellium. It's the journey of the fabulously flawed, if you ask me. Okay. Isabella is being joined by the High Priestess. Seraphina is being joined by the Love card. Archangel Uriel is being joined by the Wind Fairy. And Fiona is being joined by the Eagle. This is really so fabulous because, Virgo is, I'm so funny because I have this love of structure, this love of leadership, and yet I have this need to be myself that is sometimes counter to other people's structure. But this is where I'm going with Virgo. Yes, the timing is right for this new venture. A happy outcome follows your positive expectation. And then there's the High Priestess. Just because you're a Virgo doesn't mean you don't have your own set of intuition. Everybody is born with intuition. It's a matter of nurturing sometimes. Sometimes it's like a singing voice. Sometimes you got to take a lesson or two to find your pitch. Sometimes it comes out naturally. Virgo, now is the time to start to trust a deeper inner knowing. So let's just think about this idea of this eclipse in the sign of Sagittarius about my beliefs. What do I believe? And what I want to offer you is that the idea that it's time to start to believe that love is not just a singular thing. It's not just on one person or any sort of perfection, but rather the journey of the fabulously flawed. Because every single human being is fabulously flawed. And as you remember that, it gives you an opportunity to shift the dynamic within your own life, within your own family, and the committee inside your head. I say that because, while we have outside forces, we have very strong inside forces. And I don't know if you guys are like me, but I can be doing laundry by myself and having a complete conversation with like people that I haven't even seen in a year or 2 years, whatever. I go through these weird sniper-like feelings of you done me wrong. And I say that because Archangel Uriel is here with the Wind Fairy. And I think sometimes your anger and frustration is all in your head. Not all in your head, but it's not coming out. You're not fighting with other people, but you're musing on it. And now is a time to claim a different way of thinking. Now is an opportunity, rather than to sit in what has not worked out well, to instead see how the broken road has led you maybe to a higher dynamic or a more aligned version of what you want. Because Fiona is in the final position saying, now that you've asked God and the angels for help, be open to receiving. And then here is the eagle, which represents the connection to the angelic realm. This connection to the angelic realm is very ninth house. It's very traveling to a foreign realm to realign my philosophies about life into a bigger place, a place of possibilities, a place where the flaws work for me. The lack of perfection is perfection. I find this so interesting because, to me, when I look at this spread for Virgo, especially Virgo stelliums, I feel like this square with Neptune, which represents, Neptune rules the 12th house, and it's really kind of feels like the tension is forcing you to go into an inner knowing versus an outer knowing. And inner knowing is going to be an opportunity to make choices at a higher vibration, rather than looking through murky waters for your eyes to see something that you can grab onto and move Mercury through, Mercury running all over the place. It's like being able to trust this inner knowing that then allows me to take my action. Very, very powerful. And I want to offer this, Virgo, if Saturn is making any aspects, let's say Saturn's in Virgo for you, or it's making a square, any aspects, I think it's time for you to ask yourself if you're being aligned to your own hopes and dreams, or if you're being enslaved by some sort of obligation or obligatory energies that you're operating on. I have to do this. I have to do that. If I don't do it, no one else will. Okay, on to our Leos. Rising Moon, Sun, and Stelliums. You know what? Did you guys know that Saturday is actually named after the planet Saturn? I didn't know that. Just recently learned it. And I thought it was interesting because Saturday, everybody's working for the weekend, right? I just think Saturn has been, I know Saturn is not an easy energy, because if you're operating on a platform that is of obligation, Saturn's going to tear you up, going to depress the crap out of you and dry you up. I totally get that. But I think Saturn is a hidden jewel. I think Saturn is harped on in a way that is just not serving humanity anymore. So I'm transforming Saturn, and I think Saturn wants me to work hard on looking at where I'm going to be responsible for my own hopes and dreams, and being responsible for knowing when to put on the gas and when to take it off. If you're running a marathon, you've got to hydrate. You have to pace yourself. Sometimes humans take things to such the extreme, and they never take them in a happy place. They always take them to the most arduous, the highest mountain, the hardest road to climb. All right, here we go. Leo, Rising Moon, Sun, and Stelliums. Welcome, Andrew. Divitatorio family, welcome. Good to see you. All right, Leo, our first angel is Daniel, the angel of marriage. The second is Maya. Maya's been in almost every spread. We're all getting a very strong education. Here's Archangel Michael, again, asking us to feel the courage. It's not easy sometimes. And then we have Rochelle. I like that. Michelle says, weirdly, transiting Saturn is not making any aspects in my chart. Well, amen to that. Well, yeah, thank you, CJD. But what I was about to say, and I didn't finish my sentence because I get so distracted, but Saturday is fun day. Sunday is fun day, right? So I understand why the sun rules Sunday, but we always think of Saturn, work hard, work hard, work hard. And Saturn is ruling the first day off of the week. We need to rewrite Saturn, man. We really do. Okay, Daniel is being joined by the Queen. Maya is being joined by the Bear, Leo, Rising Moon, Sun, and Stelliums. Archangel Michael is being joined by the Eagle. And the King is being joined by Rochelle. Wow. You know, this could definitely be about relationships, I got to say. Daniel represents marriage, represents bringing you a marriage partner. And the Queen represents fertility, represents feminine energy, represents friendships. It represents receptivity. And CJD, that was not my email address, by the way. So, there is an email address that you guys can reach me through Lotta's channel. Anyway, okay, so let me go on. Because, Leo, Daniel, the angel of marriage, and the Queen are here, and I want to offer it this way. If indeed you are a Leo that is single, then it's time to start to muse on romance. And I mean it in a way that's fun, in a way that says, you know what, I receive easily, and I am willing to let go of my story in relationships. Because, you know, every single human that allows themselves to delve into intimacy with another human being is walking a landmine field. I mean, let's face it, right? I mean, I don't know. I didn't meet Jesus personally that I'm aware of, but I'm not quite sure that even Jesus was always, you know, standing in his highest vibration. He did throw tables in the marketplace, as I recall. So I want to say this for Leo. I'm kind of getting off track, but I think this is about receiving. I think it's about really looking at how much life you are giving to the highest vibration of your sign. I believe that we should start paying attention to the sun. The sun rules the house of romance, the house of fun, the house of personal expression, creativity, hobbies, crafts. And now is a time that I think Leo is learning about the story they've been telling in their history. Because we got the history of relationships as evidenced by Daniel and the Queen asking for you to receive a relationship versus going out to pay out of the pavement and look for it. And if indeed you are in a relationship and have been, I'm going to address that. I'm going to go through this a second time with the already in a relationship. But right now I'm going to address the singles, because it can be very easy to tell your story without realizing it. And that would be where Saturn is asking you to be responsible for your hopes and dreams in relationships. Because now as Archangel Michael is asking you to have the courage and the integrity to tell a new story. And in that respect, owning the story you have been telling. So, you know, I've got a big story when it comes to relationships, and I just had it triggered. I inadvertently met someone online, and within like 5 seconds of getting to know this gentleman, he said, "You're quite intimidating." I cannot tell you how many men on an intimate level have told me I'm intimidating. And that instantly put me in an old vibration. Leo, Daniel will talk about your history in relationships. Now is time to receive, and not just receive a new relationship, but a new and improved version, as evidenced by your own evolution and what you have learned about your storytelling. Because now it's time to think I've worked on my integrity in relationships, my integrity for myself, what I want for myself, because Leo, this is wonderful. Rochelle says, as you honor and follow the guidance of your heart, prosperity is coming to you. This prosperity is harmonious wealth, and there is the King. Now, the King represents justice and law and men, and in the first position we have female and male. Now, I'm not really going to get into genders here, but this is reception, and this is the King willing to take action on his heart. So, or her heart. So, Leo, I believe for those of you that are single, put a little juju, put a little love onto the idea of what you want to experience in relationships, not where you've been. Now, if you are indeed a Leo who has been in a relationship for a period of time, and if indeed that relationship is not felt balanced, then I believe this is really about taking the time to look and see how you want to show up in the relationship. Rather than saying to your partner, oh, if you're like this, then I would be like this. Maybe it's time to flip the script and start to allow yourself to be that which you want to experience, and then assess whether or not your partner is willing to mirror you, and not putting some sort of crazy time limit on it. Like, we've been together for 10 years, so I'm going to be good for a month. And, oh, he's not responding or she's not responding. This is about claiming your happiness. And if indeed a relationship is wobbly, weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. So if indeed your relationship is creating some sort of beehive of mercurial thoughts, and they're being murky through Neptune's craziness, and you feel a little underwater, then go to your hobbies and take it into a place where you can enjoy some of your own time, so you can recalibrate, not the other person, but yourself. Am I willing to receive a new version, or am I just telling the old story over and over and over again? Because it's time to learn about the story I'm telling myself. Saturn, am I defending my limitations? Am I defending my position? You're always like that. No matter whatever I do, you're always late. You're always late. That's a co-creation for the other person. Okay, on to our Cancers, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Oh, I'm telling you, I've been hearing that intimidating thing since I can even remember. I'm so over it. I'm just authentic, I'm just myself. And I don't know how to be anything else. So it triggers me, I got to tell you. So I get to look at those triggers now and decide if they're real or not. Because if indeed I'm triggered by the idea that I'm intimidating them, somewhere I must believe it. Somewhere I must believe I'm too difficult. Somewhere I must believe I'm too fiery. I don't know if that's necessarily true. So maybe it's time to rewrite the story, which is what all this is about. All right, here we go. Cancer, our first angel is Akasha. The second is Fiona. The third is Caressa. And the final is Athena. Hi, Debbie. Good to see you. Welcome back. Hi, Wisdom Drops Astrology. All right. Cancer, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. The High Priestess is joining Akasha. Fiona is being joined by the dog. Caressa is being joined by Merlin. And Athena is being joined by the deer. Okay, so a couple weeks ago, when I did Cancer, I said, Chrissy, this is for you. And somebody said in the comments, and I assumed it was because of that I had called somebody out. I got to tell you, I wasn't calling them out. It was more of an alert. And I'm going to do it again today for Chrissy. Because my Cancer, rising moon, sun, and stelliums, this is good news. Akasha is the spiritual teacher. And the High Priestess is about my vision of what I want for my life, but it's also about an inner knowing. It is the quintessential trusting my gut, trusting that part of Cancer that is ruled by the moon, the things that you cannot see on the outside, but are so palatable and so alive on the inside. People don't see our emotions. That's why that stupid commercial walks around with the mask with the smile. So I believe that Cancer, you're learning something about your inner knowing, and you're learning to trust it rather than to be afraid of it or to be unsure of it. Because in the opportunity of the obstacle is Fiona saying, now that you've asked God and the angels for help, be open to receiving heaven's help. You deserve it. And this is about love. This is about intimacy. This is about co-creation with another human being on this planet. I believe that Cancer rules the family. It rules the home, and home is where the heart is. And I think that this is about, if you haven't experienced the love you want, if you haven't got the relationship, it's coming. Your job is to say to spirit and to continue to have faith in an excited way that, look how happy Fiona is. She's like, I'm happy to help you. My arms are open. I hope you're open to receiving, Cancer. Because Caressa says you're at the end of a life cycle, that new happiness awaits you. And that, to me, is really the end of being maybe single, or the end of not feeling loved in a relationship, or the end of feeling distant from those that you love. Because Merlin's here bringing alchemy, justice, and balance. And this is also part of, I believe, an activation. I believe that many souls incarnated with this sort of rough timeline, knowing what the astrological dynamics would be. So we would come under the veil and we'd start in our little hamster wheel of mercurial everyday activities. And then we would learn of a deeper knowing and power within us. And as that evolved, we would be activated into that higher dynamic, so that those that are still stuck on the hamster wheel will witness that and experience it from us, and then claim it themselves. Because, Cancer, in the final position is Athena, saying to lovingly assert yourself towards that inner knowing, because you are not only going to learn something, but you will teach others inadvertently. But while you're in the process, be gentle and diplomatic with yourself. Just because you haven't seen it yet doesn't mean it isn't happening. And sometimes when we get all the ingredients together, and so often my girls say, I've done the work. Well, you've got a partner that's got to do the work too. It's a two-way street. It's a co-creation. And sometimes it's a triad co-creation between spirit, your human self, your person's human self, and your oversouls. There's a lot of stuff going on here, but it's exciting. And I want to offer this because this super full blood moon lunar eclipse in Sagittarius could very much be ushering in the dynamics of what you want. Because the full moon is representing my emotional body. And being full, feeling the fullness of it, just not illuminating the crap. Doesn't have to always just be about the crap. Okay, here we go. On to our Gemini's rising moon, sun, and stelliums. I know it's hard. We doubt ourselves because in our mind's eye, we so often think we are creating by ourselves. I don't think we really do. Even the crap we create, we're co-creating with somebody else. And I don't always think that we're the bad guy. And I think it's a lot of gray hats. I don't know if I think they're black hats and white hats, because as the more I do this work, the more I see the layers and layers and layers of every situation. All right, welcome, Thumper Rabbit 4. Okay, I go backwards. My name is Teri Hunter. I am an angel therapy practitioner. These readings are for traversing the transits. So I started at Pisces. I'm working towards Aries. I'm on Gemini. And we're almost done. Okay. No, we're never alone. We feel alone when we are disconnected from our deeper truth. Okay. Gemini, our first angel is Aurora. My goodness gracious, are we seeing a little theme here? Then we have Sonia in the opportunity of the obstacle. We have Fiona in the angel's advice. And we have Mystique in the potential outcome. All right, here we go. Gemini, Aurora is being joined by the horse. Sonia is being joined by the communications card. Fiona is being joined by the spider. And Mystique is being joined by the Lady of the Lake. You know, Small Wildflowers makes this little comment over here. Gemini, my split personality. And I kind of have to laugh because it doesn't really feel like a split personality. It feels like faith and fear backing up against each other. In 1 minute, I feel faithful. Oh my goodness, everything I want is going to come true. And then I get fearful because Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is ruling my everyday activities. And if I don't see any evidence of what I want to experience, I could go into that place. So this is where I'm going. Aurora says you're flying high right now. Don't descend. You will soon inspire others by your willingness to go in a new direction. And the new direction is not about knowing the outcome. It's about willing to be in the unknown as you go through the process of a moving towards your outcome. Because there really is no outcome. It's a series of choices. And the biggest bummer, I think, is actually reincarnating under the veil and having to take, I don't even know how many years it took me to start to pay attention to a deeper knowing within myself. Because Gemini, it's time to connect to that deeper knowing. Sonia talks about a deceased loved one, and that may be true on some level. Neptune will indicate that on some level. It's a very ancestral house, the 12th house. It's a house of karma, which is choices offered over and over again. And it's the house of ancestors. So I think that Gemini has an opportunity to really look at the ancestral pattern of your communication. Going back to Aurora and saying, this is an opportunity to move in a new direction. Is my ancestral story serving me? Because in the angel's advice is Fiona, again, saying, now that you've asked God and the angels for help, be open to receiving. And today, for some reason, I'm seeing the network. It's almost as if Spirit is saying, it's time to call upon your network, your team. We are all connected right now via the web. And we can't see each other. Maybe you can see me, but there's no time and space here. Some of us are in the same time zone, and some of us are not even in the same day or hemisphere. So I feel like for my Geminis, this is really a time to get outside the box. Mercury is the lower octave of Uranus, right? Both rules, thought and science and technology and everyday activities, and this idea of thinking, speaking, writing, teammates, workmates, neighborhoods. And so we get entrenched in this human experience, and we start thinking that everything is 3D. But when we go to Uranus, this higher vibration of that, we realize it's just dense molecules that are making this table appear solid. Because it's time for you to get magical a little bit. It's time for you to fly. Have you guys watched Wicked? It's time for you to defy gravity and move in a new direction. And let the eclipse, let the murkiness of the square between Mercury and Neptune take you out of your eyesight and into your heart chakra. What do I intuit out of this? And it may take a minute to decompress your mind in order to get into that. What's the real truth? Because in the final position for Gemini is Mystique, saying to keep charging ahead and expect miraculous solutions. But it's a process card. It's a card of coming out of the dark and into the light. And it's done by your willingness to sit within an emotional storm of the twins. That I'm powerful, I'm not powerful. I'm fearful, I'm faithful. I know, I don't know. But the way you'll really know is your inner truth. As the storm of your mind and the unsureness of your emotions continues to churn, your ruling planet is going to be in a kind of challenging. I say challenging because Mercury really wants to get on with things. Okay, let's move the story forward, I feel like. And this is really about a reinvention. It's about a reevaluation. And it's about it from this place of taking time to go into the ashram of your heart, into the sacred temple, to quiet it down, And I want to offer this because, Mercury is so busy. I have really come to realize that when I'm super anxious and I try to meditate, it's basically BS, because all I do is just churn over my crap. So I do my diamond art. You guys, I've talked about that. I actually put myself into activities that incorporate my mind and my body so that I can get into sort of a rhythm that creates a meditative state. So for my Geminis, this is really a Sagittarian full moon to illuminate the truth of your heart. And it's time to fly off the balcony. It's time to take that shot. How does it go in the song? It's time for me to leap. I can't remember. And to communicate that with spirit. Be very in connection with your team, because your team is going to start to give you evidence in the 3D world. But you get to continue the momentum, because you can't do it on all right, I shifted on a dime. We talk about these planets as they go retrograde, they station. Your manifestation does the same thing. If you've been thinking and thinking and thinking in a certain direction, if you stopped on a dime, you'd endo over the handlebars and crash your head. This is about slowing it down so you can move in a new direction. All right, let's get on to our Tauruses, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Jules, is that small wildflowers or is that single white female? Because when I first read it, I thought you were a single white female excited about a new relationship, but I think you might be talking to small wildflowers. Sorry. There used to be a song called Single White Female, as a country song. Love it. I'm a Taurus moon too, dreaming with Tess. Okay, which is very exciting. Love it. And it's been very exciting to watch Uranus just freaking hover over my moon like for years. Ugh. I laugh at myself because I've also been very willing to liberate myself. And that liberation is not done in a committee. Because if I was going to a committee of other people to agree with what makes me happy, I'd be screwed. All right. Taurus, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Ooh. Okay. Our first angel is Fiona. My goodness gracious. One. How many times has Fiona showed up in like every reading? And then we have Ariel. And Sonia again. And Ray. All righty. Oh, TP, I totally get it. But mine, I feel like I can't really identify what's kicking my arse. It's either Pluto squaring everything. And it's so funny because I got to tell you, I mentioned this before. Lotta said to me when I told her about all the dynamics, she's like, how's your health? I'm like, I don't know. How is my health? Should I be scared? And that's what made me go look at my natal chart. And then I was like, all right, surrender. All right, Taurus, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. The Raven is joining Fiona. Ariel is joining the Truth card. Sonia's being joined by the Joy card. And Ray is being joined by the Focus card. Okay. As I look at this, it's very interesting to me because when I look at Fiona, again, as you ask God and the angels for help, be open to receiving. And then there's the Raven. But I want to offer it this way for Taurus, because Taurus in some ways, in its more challenging vibration, can get a little stubborn and stuck in their earthbound experience. So I feel like for my Tauruses now, it's time to use the Raven's energy, as the Native Americans did, to go into the underbelly of what is really true for you and to give yourself some opportunities for that transformation, the magic of transformation, and how quickly that transformation can take place when we work in cooperation with spirit. I feel like what Taurus and me being a Taurus moon. So my emotions are ruled by Taurus. I need and want dependable people in my life. And I want people who enjoy good meals with me and have this. My Taurus moon is in the second house. So it's going to be associated to my family history and to people acknowledging me for my skills, if I'm looking at an emotional level. So I'm going to go to the final position, because what I think is happening for Taurus is really an opportunity to focus. And Ray will talk about yoga and exercise, but look at her meditative state. It's really about telling spirit from my power center, my power chakra, my heart chakra, and through my voice. I'm willing to acknowledge where my focus has been, because if I'm really being frank and authentic with spirit as a Taurus moon, if I continue to tell the story of yesteryear of who done me wrong, I'm continuing to give life to it. So we go back. Now that you've asked God and the angels for help, be willing to go into a little bit of this transformational place that Pluto is offering. Because as I do, I understand the truth is that I've been telling the same story over and over again. And now it's time to transform that story. That it is either expired or it's only living today because I am giving life to it here. Mercury squaring Neptune. So what do your guides ask you? Do things that make you have joy. I want to offer it this way. When I was talking to Brian Coulter about all my Pluto transits, he's like, oh, Teri, with your Taurus moon, do Venusian things. Enjoy Venusian things. For me, it's art, music. I love it. Fixing my house up, putting up my pretty little privacy fence and lighting my candles. Taurus, it's time to honor yourself. It's time to kind of step back from the story of yesteryear and who done you wrong. And God bless us. I'm not invalidating who did us wrong. I'm just saying I no longer, does it serve me to keep telling the story? No, it doesn't. And the only person it's hurting is me. So I'm reminding myself, as spirit is, every day to come into today and to be present and to allow spirit to start to put things into my experience that support where I want to go, what I want to be. When I say Venusian, I mean Venus ruled things. Venus loves beauty, art, makeup, sculpting, beautiful music, and in Taurus, good food, all these things. So honor yourself, allow yourself a good meal, spend a little money on yourself. Don't go crazy, just a little bit to validate your willingness to stand in a new vibration. And the new vibration is the bull that's willing to push forward in spite of the obstacles. Okay. All righty. Tell us more about the privacy fence. Okay, so the reason I got the privacy fence after living here for almost 18 years is because I have this neighbor that is just, I don't even want to talk about her, but let's just say I'm not happy about it. So I put up the fence because you can see directly into her place and I don't want to look at her anymore. She puts me in the bad energy. So it's me protecting myself through beauty. And it worked. Okay, Aries, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Our final sign. Oh, I can't tell you. My Aries, I'm telling you, that warrior in me, my fantasy life, okay? It's worse than that. It's worse than her walking around naked. It's worse. I can't even tell you. I'm not even going to go there. Because, I don't want to give the life to the laws of attraction. Ooh, what brand did you buy? What was the fake pastrami? What was the brand? Because I've been venturing more and more into the vegan world, and I feel so much better as I'm especially giving up dairy, I got to say. I think that's one of the things that's happening for me is as I've done this work, I realize that my food vibration is as important as my body vibration, because what I'm putting in my body is either lifting me or pulling me down. Thank you, Jules. Okay, here we go. Oh, Aries, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Oh, and this is the other weird thing that was interesting that I noticed. Mars is in, I think it's still in Gemini. And last week it was making some aspect in my chart, which made me feel at war with my neighbors. And this was triggering the original Pluto squares before the retrogrades, blah, blah, blah. So at first, when I started to react, I had the wherewithal to be like, oh my God, I've done this before. It wasn't with that neighbor or that direction. It's in a new situation, but now I get to rewrite it. So I claimed myself. And in doing so, I neutralized the darkness. And I say that because she'd be dark. She'd be a dark lady. Okay, here we go. Aries, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Oh my God. Milk. Ugh. Maybe you're lucky. Maybe spirit is saving you, small wildflowers, from drinking that poison known as milk. I'm sorry for those of you that like milk, but honestly, it's really not good for you. So I'm glad it keeps expiring. Throw it out. All right, Aries, our first angel is Vanessa. The second is Oceana. The third is Desiree. And the final is Mystique. I think I'm not sure the way the cows are raised. That's kind of where I'm going with it. I think when we were drinking milk back in the 1800s, it was probably just fine. But nowadays, if you think about how the animals are, put in these like pens, I don't know. I'm not even worried about antibiotics. I just think energetically, how would you like to have your neck stuck into some chute and have these freaking machines pulling on your nipples all day long? Oh my God. I digress. My freaking imagination. All right, Aries. Vanessa is being joined by the love card. Oh, Oceana is being joined by the frog. Desiree is being joined by Merlin. And Mystique is being joined by the Lady of the Lake. Okay. So this is kind of interesting because Vanessa is all about faith or fear. Are you going to make your decisions based on faith or fear? Are you going to believe you're lovable, or are you going to believe that you're some sort of aggressive, nasty, blunt, assertive, unacceptable person? Earlier in the broadcast, I said something about a potential new dating person. The first thing that he said to me was, "You're kind of intimidating." He went and looked at my shows. He came onto YouTube and watched my shows, and that's where he got the whole intimidating thing. And this is where I'm going with this, because Vanessa would say, am I gonna keep telling myself that I'm intimidating and be afraid that I'll never be loved? Or am I going to believe that there's someone out there that can handle me just fine and I'm not intimidating? So I think, Aries, this is time to start to believe you're lovable for all your nooks and crannies, for all your I kind of think that, you want someone on your team, you want someone literally on your sports team or to have your back, you want an Aries, because they will go to the mat for you in some ways that you won't go for yourself. So Aries, it's time to start to believe you're lovable. It's time to start to believe that the world is supporting you. It's time to start to believe that you deserve to be emotionally fulfilled. And here we go. There's the Oceana is saying to take action. And the action for me is to believe that you've been doing a lot of work on yourself, Aries. You haven't been sitting around just, twiddling your thumbs. If you're sitting and you're watching this video now, or you participated in the live chats, you are actively being present to be a co-creator in your life. And it's time to own that in a really amazingly prideful and evolutionary way. So it's time to start to trust that you are indeed on a journey of self-discovery that is not only moving you where you want to go, but is also allowing you the privilege of knowing that all the colors that are you are lovable. Because in the angel's advice, we have Desiree and we have Merlin. And I want to say it this way, because Desiree talks about conditions not being favorable, but how I'm seeing this is more about this idea that we're walking through these. Aries is a cardinal sign. It has been squared by Pluto and, God knows in 2020, all sorts of things. But it has been maybe not looked like a favorable time, but all of this nonsense is bringing you to a place of balance and alchemy. It's bringing you an opportunity to solidify and to coagulate and to bring into your 3D experience the things that you have been working on. Because in the final position is Mystique, saying to continue to charge ahead, expect miraculous solutions. And here's the Lady of the Lake. Continue to be courageous. And more than anything else, Aries, continue to be courageous in love of self, in love of life, in love of the ups and the downs and the nooks and the crannies, and knowing that love is your God-given right. And as you have the courage to realize that it doesn't matter the emotional storm, it doesn't matter what the dynamics are, it doesn't matter the challenges that you encounter. What really matters is that you are deserving, and it's time to claim it. Because I think that part of you that's pioneering, that part of you that's gone alone, the part of you that's willing to go, to unknown places by yourself and explore, might have gotten used to that. And while you're perfectly fine that way, I do think that companionship or like-minded people in your life, or people who feel like your spiritual family, I think that's something that you want to experience more and more. So invite it in. And tell Spirit, hey, I'm done. No more nonsense. I'm ready to experience it right here and now. Okay, that's where I'm going. I'm a big almond milk fan, and I use cashew milk in my, I make this yummy shake. I'm not much on the soy anymore. I think the soy gave me a little weird lump. Anyway, all right. Well, that's it for this week, you guys. It's wonderful to see you all in the chat. Jenny B, Jules K, Dreaming with Tess Stevens, CJD, Shelley, Welsh Roses, Sage, Wheatgrass, and Shamrocks. Oh, such a pretty picture. Okay, so that's it for this week. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an angel therapy practitioner, Reiki master, intuitive guided empowerment coach. And if you'd like to get a private reading with me, my information is in the description below, and you can find me on Lada's channel. And I'll be back next week at 11 a.m. Pacific time with another messages from your angels, and we will have made it through the eclipse. So here we go. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Sending love to you all. Peace out.